Off and running Sunday afternoon, a Sunday fun day here at Gulfstream Park. All about the fun sitting next to this guy, track announcer Pete Aiello, Jason Blewett alongside. Glad you're with us here on Gulfstream today. And what's going on in your world, man?
You know how you play video games and at first it's fun and then you get to that point in the game where you just can't possibly get past it?
You rage quit.
And you want to throw the controller at the TV?
Yeah.
Well, playing handicapping contests with you the last couple days has got me to that point.
It has?
Yeah.
We're going to have fun today, though.
All right, that sounds good.
Do we have a pancake wager today?
I don't think so.
No?
I think the controller has been smashed and I need a new television.
Rage quit. All right, good. Get it out of your system now, though. You got 10 races to call today, some big fields at Gulfstream Park. And what about some post-Preakness thoughts? No Triple Crown on the line this year, always dreaming. I was as surprised as anybody, even with him hooked inside Classic Empire, that he was on E at like the 3/8 pole.
Yeah, he was. I mean, they went 46 flat, or no, 46 and 4 to the half mile. I don't know. Just my 2 cents. I don't understand the move on Classic Empire to be that aggressive other than to have a complete disregard for the rest of the field. That's got to be the logic that Leparoux thought he only had to beat Always Dreaming when there were some other horses in there. And inside the final 16th of a mile, it showed they took the starch out of Classic Empire as well as Always Dreaming. And here comes Cloud Computing for the upset.
Yeah, Cloud Computing, who has got newly minted Hall of Fame jockey Javier Castellano, who, I don't know, in my mind, when the money's on the line in these big-time graded stakes, I know you have Mike Smith as sort of the, the old dog, but I think day in and day out, Javier Castellano, the best jockey in the country.
Certainly hard to argue with that.
Yeah, now Chad Brown, I mean, it's just incredible. It's hard to believe in a way he's only been training for a decade, give or take. I mean, the amount of Grade 1 trophies he's been able to rack up, and he is, I think, and his crew, very much a story of Cloud Computing and the second leg of the Triple Crown.
You know, he gets a bad rap about only being able to train turf fillies. I don't think that's true, and certainly the Preakness feather in his cap yesterday, yet one more reason why that's not true.
All right, fair enough. We'll see who goes where. It does appear that as far as the Belmont Stakes is concerned, 3 weeks from yesterday, you won't have the grudge match between Always Dreaming and Cloud Computing. As far as the Derby and Preakness winner, grudge match in that regard. Classic Empire, reading what Jay Pridman had a while ago on DRF.com, it sounds like Mark Cassie, who likes to run his horses, and we appreciate that, they're in with Classic Empire.
Wow, I would have thought that was a no-chance proposition to see Classic Empire, so I'm glad you said that before I made any statement that wasn't true.
You got anybody, any sleeper that you've had your eye on that might relish the 12 furlongs of Big Sandy?
Not really. You're the New York guy. That's all about your race. Belmont Week, this is the guy right here. We want all the wins in the Met Mile and all the amazing races that they have. You know, that's turned into a heck of a show.
Yeah.
That whole week in New York, they've done such a great job with packaging all those great races and great wagering opportunities.
No doubt about it. I'll tell you, I hope the weatherman cooperates. You and I will be watching the simulcast monitor throughout Belmont Stakes Week. And, of course, we want you here all spring and summer at Gulfstream Park. They were alive with one horse in yesterday's Rainbow Six. As far as a single was concerned, it didn't work out. In that regard, that means we do have a whopping carryover to get to a bit later in the program today. 303,000, of course. Preceding that will be the early pick 5 in race number 1, and you'll have a ticket for us.
I'll have a ticket. We got our money back yesterday. We went 4 for 4 and lost a very bad photo in the 5th leg, but at least we didn't lose any money. The 4 or 5 consolations got us our bet back. We'll see if we can seal the deal here today.
All right, my friend. And then we have the Super High 5. That'll get underway with no carryover as far as that rolling wager is concerned in race number 4, and then it's all about a $303,000 plus. In fact, just under 304 G's in the Rainbow Six. 6 out of 6 yesterday paid a hefty 19,000. We saw a couple of upsets fairly late in the day, and even taking a step back. And of course, we've got the late pick 5 as well. That'll start on this 10-race card in race number 6. Quick pop to Quixote, who ran, I thought, really well in his Gulfstream debut.
He sure did. And Mo Cash, who ran second, I thought he ran excellent too. 3-year-old giving up seasoning and making his first start at that particular journey. I mean, that was a very, very strong race. I'd like to have the last place horse out of there and an allowance optional during the week. That sounds good to me.
That's a good nugget there, but the 3-year-old the youngster, did run pretty well, and Midwest and Armando de la Cerda should have a big spring summer here at Gulfstream Park. So let's get down to business, my friend. Good old Pete and I with you for the first of 10 today as we start the card. We're back to our approximate first post of about 1:15. We turfed today, my friend, in 6 races, and the grass is where it's at with this field of 6 in the opener. 3-year-old filly, $35,000 to $25,000 maiden claimer. My question to you, who we using in the pick 5?
I'm too deep to start it off. This is a tricky sequence. These races may not look that tricky on form because of the field size, but there's some major contenders, and more to the point, there's some chinks in the armor of horses that will take a lot of money. I'll use the 4 Spunky Linda to try to upset, and the 7 Passionate Girl, who's the likely favorite and probably the likely winner. 3 deep in the second, scratch the 5 Annie's Big Boy, who I was going to use. I'll use Kinane, Nico's on the run, and Knockout Ranger. I like Knockout Ranger, but not enough to single. 3 deep in the third, I like Silver Spun, but not enough to single. I think you can get that race covered for just 3 horses. Private Safe will get a good setup. Magnanimous Mine on the outside. The singles in the 4th race. You got to draw a line through Brown's Gap's last race. Make a notation that he is dropping in class. He faces serious question marks with the other horses in this race. I think he's the likely winner. 3 deep to close it out. That's probably a 4-horse race. I'll use 3 of the 4 and hope I pick the right ones. 4, 5, and 6.
And you've got Angel Penna on that ticket in race 1 and 5. In fact, you and I taking a pair of second-time starters to lead off the card. Tell us why you like the 4 Spunky Linda, an E-Dubai filly who is finally, well, I shouldn't say finally, wanted to get this horse first out on the turf, and it was obviously rained off.
Yeah, well, the horse got something out of that race. Ran third to a horse who was expected to win in Fiore. Speed is my weapon of choice here. I don't see a lot of it. I certainly don't trust what little I do see on form. So I think Spunky Linda is faster than Passionate Girl in the early stages of the race. I think they are the 2 principal contenders. So if I think I'm going to be in front of Passionate Girl, I'm going to try to take that tactical advantage.
At a bigger price as well. Now, the 7 Passionate Girl is with Angel Penna, a guy I have a lot of respect for. Good to see him, even a modest-sized operation here as far as numbers. It's good to see his name in the program in South Florida, and I just think you're going to get a better effort second time out, much like your horse in the first today with the 7 Passionate Girl, who, as far as position was and is concerned, had none of it when she was off slow. First time out, trailed, didn't show anything in a race that did produce a next out winner in 2-Step Blues, who came back and defeated the likely favorite in this one, the 6 Niles Angel. My problem with Niles Angel, and I see you agree, she's had so many chances.
Yeah, and she's had good setups too from a pace standpoint, and she's kind of a plotting type racehorse. She'll win eventually, but I think when she does, it'll be when you and I are off the bandwagon. The number 7 horse has one other thing going for her. The winner of that last race, Lantiz, ran huge yesterday, ran third against Bitacora and German Street. So I'm a fan of the company line of her debut run, and you figure she'll be better this time than she was last time.
No doubt about it. Outside post in a field of 6 in race number 1. Let's get on to race number 2, my friend. We are on the main track at 1 mile, the opening of 4 dirt races on the card, 3 and up, 12-5 maiden claimers, couple of scratches, the 5 Annie's Big Boy, who ran yesterday, and the 7 Legislation. Tell us about the 8 Knockout Ranger, who what I think he really has, and maybe it was what sealed the deal with you picking him on top, he has yet to run for 12-5.
Absolutely, exactly why I landed in that direction. He does have some things to like. He continues to tumble down the class ladder. If you would have told us back in May of last year that he'd still be a maiden in for 12-5 in 2017, I'd have probably laughed at you. He was sitting on a good win against special weight runners for a long time last summer. Never really panned out. They're obviously have not really gone the way they wanted to with
tough
this horse.
game, dude. It's a tough game, isn't it?
Yeah, but here's the thing about it. Number 2, Nico's on the run, the likely lone speed in this race, based on the fact that he got dueled into submission last time out. I don't know if Nico's on the run really wants to go a mile, but I do know with an outside gate, Figueroa will have the option to pull a Julian Leperoux and stalk from the outside, flanking that leader, and get first run on the other.
And then you're in the driver's seat, and that's the kind of trip you want, and obviously the advantage of being able to break outside. And a mile is a major, I think, gray area and question mark for a good chunk of this field. Topping the list, of course, the 2 Nico's on the Run, who you want to respect and you almost want to take the lone speed in a race like this. I've got my my questions with him actually surviving the 8. Now, Kinane on the rail, I think his last was a step in the right direction. And keep in mind, he closed pretty well to finish 3rd at this mile distance in a race where the pace held together. I like his last. I'm going to take him here from the inside, my friend.
I was on the bandwagon last time out, so I do not like his last. He got a perfect setup. He was looming large off the top of the turn. The top 2 were all in from the 5/16 pole to the wire, and he just didn't make any impression. He ended up making some ground on the chart comment, but don't be fooled by that. He wasn't going anywhere. I do use him here because of the fact that the pace may melt down and he'll be able to get the same setup he did the last time, but I think he'll be an underlay.
Out of the chute, my friend, as we get on to race number 3, we will stay at that 1 mile distance on the dirt, 3 and up, 6250 claimers. We go with a field of 6, and in a race where I had a tough time making heads or tails of the ones they were going to bet, I'll try to open it up here with the one Slicka, and I'll try to be a little slick with this horse who, the only reason I'm picking him, he'll be a price. Well, it's kind of, they're connected. He's a price, and he's a price going out for a trainer in Ralph Zadie, who was 8 for his last 16 here at Gulfstream. I'm not good with numbers. I know that's 50%. Slicka posts the upset for the White Hot Barn.
I can't argue with you. I mean, this would be the race where I'd laugh at you and go, what are you talking about or whatever. But number 1, he's on my ticket. He's my 4th horse. And number 2, the way you're going right now, I don't dare say anything in opposition to your selections. Now, that said, I like the 5 Silver Spun. This is a serious, and I do mean serious, class drop for this horse. His last race is a complete throwout. Not only was it on the turf, a surface he's now proven in 2 states he does not like, he also gets a major class drop, and he ran well 2 starts ago when chasing a loose leader in Gone Jack. He will be the horse that has a decision to make tactically, though. Magnanimous Mind and him may have a crash course for disaster. I'm worried about that, but I also think they're the 2 best horses here.
Fair enough. What do you do, though, in a case of a trainer who's been a little snake-bitten? It's a game of inches oftentimes, and Keith Bourgeois, it's been just a little chilly here. We're glad he has horses at Gulfstream Park. The wins will eventually come. Does that come into the equation with you?
No, because you just said it, he's snake-bit. It's not that he doesn't know what he's doing or he doesn't have success or know how to win races. He was up against it from the word go. You can't win off the van here. So a lot of those horses needed a race, which is yet another reason I like Silver Spun, because when he ran okay, he was making his South Florida debut. Then they tried him on the turf. That didn't work. So for all intents and purposes, this is his first time in South Florida with a major chance to win, and I don't think he'll squander it.
All right, Nick Figueroa rides. He's very live. You picked him in race 2 from the outside. You'll take him close to the outside in race number 3, and that means we can get on to Sunday's 4th race. It is back to the turf with a 1 mile, 3 and up, $12,500 claimer, and I wanted to give you the 2 thumbs up, Pete, during your early pick 5 play. If you're going to single, I think early, and you got to pull the trigger somewhere, it is with the number 2 Browns Gap, who may just simply have a class edge on this field. And I'm sure you remember this horse's last start on May 11th. You talk about the break being the most important facet of a race. They opened the latch, and he was just, I mean, just off in a tangle, and he nearly gets put over the rail into the first turn.
Yeah, and Zayas didn't beat him up after that. The chicken had flown the coop, so to speak, here. As you see, Browns Gap right there down on the inside. He's got no place to go. Race over. Zayas knew it, so he just took hold of him, didn't beat him up. He still only got beat 3 lengths, by the way, and what was, I think, is going to be a productive race. I want part of Wild Impulse, who would end up be second in this particular race. He's the one making the bid 3 wide. The eventual winner is Amberjack, 4 wide on the outside in the white blinkers. This was a very, very good race. Browns Gap didn't take part in the stretch run, but I don't care because he was taken out of his game at the start of the race.
And an impossible run on the turn, trying to get into contention. I mean, it's basically a done deal as they turn for home. I think he proves best here. You clearly agree for Saffie Joseph. He's got a good post. Now, the other main nugget in the race, and I think another, you know, maybe it falls in line of the second most important layer, at least going into today's 4th, is the fact that the 5 Road Warrior Max is going to control, might get loose on the front end.
I don't know. You think he gets loose? Honestly, I mean, I think Gaultier is going to have something to say about it. But on that front, Zimmerman's not exactly a send and go type rider. Road Warrior Max ran some kind of good last time. He really ran too good to lose. He was perfectly rated by C.J. McMahon in that race. I do think he's one of the key contenders, as well as the 6, friends with K. Mill, who did not have a good pace scenario last time out when chasing Road Warrior Max. I thought there was some other zip in here. just cheap, if nothing else.
I'm liking these veterans, though, that run, say, for the 10 up to 16. They're good horses, tough horses, and I like the fact that it's basically a class that shows up every couple of weeks here at Gulfstream.
Well, we talked about it the other day. When the horses are beating up on each other, you can really take note of trips and read between the lines and get a tactical advantage as a handicapper for folks who maybe are just coming into this and just looking at it on a casual basis. They see one thing, you know it's something else. Starship Apache yesterday proved that. He took money. He was a little bit over the top.
Oh, yeah.
Capital City was the horse to beat, but, you know, Crazy Frank C ran really well off of a shaky form.
All right, fair enough, my friend. As we, of course, turn our attention to Sunday's Rainbow Six, we hit 300,000 plus in the carryover pool. We'll have a ticket. We'll talk about the races after this quick break.
At ExpressBet, we celebrate the champions that make horse racing great. That's why we provide more ways to bet from more places than ever. We've built an entire family of brands to give players more of the rewards they deserve, give bettors the information they need to win, and provide a community for horse bettors. Because the best way to support the champions of horse racing is to champion horse racing. ExpressBet, we are racing.
And a hearty welcome back. Little Sunday edition of Gulfstream today. Pete and Jason joining you outside our walking ring. Pretty nice day here in South Florida. The sun is out. We are fast and firm, and quite a bit of money, my friend, up for grabs in that Rainbow Six.
What a great job. If you're listening to this telecast and you had the Rainbow Six yesterday, I don't have a hat to take off to you, but my goodness, what a good job of handicapping.
Incredible.
It was a tough, tough sequence.
Indeed it was, and we saw, I think, in the third to last leg, a 20-to-1 shot upsetting the field, paid $42. The race with Tomlins, in fact, and got to survive these races. Big fields at Gulfstream Park, and let's get into the Sunday sequence, shall we? 7.5 furlongs in race number 5. 3 and up fillies and mares, and as far as my Rainbow Six ticket goes, I'm using a pair of runners in here. The Pletcher trained Crave, who's coming out of a trip in which she was just second best in a narrow loss in her turf debut, and I like the 5, Fashionably Wild. I tried to come up with a single today, and I just could not do it. I'll go 3 deep in race number 6. I'll use the 2 morning line favorites, the 3 Ghana Dixie, the 7 Tacos Wayne Shot. I thought the 5 Irish Star was worth a look. First time on the turf for the current trainer. Moving on to the 7th race, that is a 3-bagger, the 1 Brave Request off a long layoff, a Silver Chalice in from Tampa Bay off a useful debut, and the 8 Just Like a Rock, who's had some chances. I'll use that horse somewhat defensively. Moving on to race number 8, Biendetti Song has had the number of the 8 Wildcat Wave. They're both on the ticket over the last couple times they met, but Wildcat Wave, I think, can control the pace in there. Race number 8 on the card. This is the one, or 9, I should say, is the one I'm really looking forward to with JB Quick off a 96 buyer for trainer Ralph Zadie. I'm not fully buying that last out fig. I want to see him do it again against a solid crew. So I'll use that horse defensively with the 6 Harry He. And if we get live to race 10, if I had the money, I would just pretty much buy the race. But again, I had to trim and keep it somewhat budget-minded. So we'll use Wakachula and the number 6 Viva Bertha, who has got a look to her. She won't be a price. She might go off favorite. She's got a look like she is spotted to win today in the nightcap for 10,000. But let's digress, Pete. Let's get back to race number 5, and let's begin with the Candy Ride filly, who's got Tyler Gaffleone and his 55 wins at the meet. This is a filly who had Edgar Zayas last time out, was 3-to-1 in her turf debut. I thought ran okay. You could take us through as we roll the tape, and what do you think of this turf race?
Pretty much exactly what you thought. I thought she was okay, nothing great, nothing that would make her put on my list, so to speak. But the eventual winner of the race, Flyby, was a decent winner that afternoon. You'll see in your chart line that you'll see Slam Between late, but you and I both agree she's going nowhere anyway at this point. Crave is the horse 3 off the inside, charging at the leaders. The eventual winner, Flyby, is on her outside, down the outside, and going to get up and past her late. But number 3, Crave, you see right there.
was steady. Was kind of, you know, the filly down in the green inside started to drift out. The eventual winner drifted in a bit. She got squeezed, but she was a beaten filly in that race no matter what, was going to finish second no matter what. And the trouble basically happened, if you could call it trouble, it happened basically on the finish line. She's got a real rival today at a slightly better price than the 5 Fashionably Wild, who's picked up these horses. Angel Penna has, that is, for Hardacre Farm. And as far as facing the best firepower, she's an older filly who's run against the best fields.
They paid $300,000 for her too. She's by an Unbridled Song on the top side out of a Forest Wildcat mare. My logic is simple. I think she's going to be much better on the barn switch here today, and I don't think she needs to be much better at all to win anyway. So put those two things together, and that's why she's on top.
Yeah, she looks pretty good here. Some may view it as a 2-horse race. If you wanted a third from me, it was the Loa de Sanamo, Valiant Princess, trying the turf for the first time, but very much a big 2 status, I think, in race number 5.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, let's move on to the 6, Pete. My own 16th on the turf. These are 3 and up, filly and mare, 12-5 maiden claimers, field of 7 ready to roll. You're running into a situation here, and it's bound to happen, where you have horses who are getting close to breaking their maiden in lower level maiden claiming races, who are coming back and obviously have exposed form, and they're pretty much short prices, race in and race out. You run into that dilemma in a big way here in race number 6 at a combined 0 for 29 with the 3 Ghana Dixie, who's winless in 18 starts, and the 7-horse Taco Wayne Shot, who ran, and it's a race we'll check out right now, just 7 days ago on May 14th, as he is 0 for 11. I tried to beat them both just because of their records.
So did I. I bet I'm actually going to bet number 4 Grand Edge in this race, based on the fact that I think she gets the lead, and I don't think she'll have to pay a 47 2 half mile to do it. Her last race was an okay race. Venezuelan Treasure came back to win. Little Queen was expected to win when she did win that day. They take the blinkers off Grand Edge here today. Going to try to get her to relax. Pace-wise, I think she makes the lead by easy. I like Taco Wayne Shot. If you made me pick between the two,
yeah,
I'm going to take Taco Wayne Shot 100 times out of 100 over Gone to Dixie. Gone to Dixie has had so many chances to win, and frankly is on my hit list because of that.
Yeah, so she is a major trap, is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, she gets. Listen, she first started off the layoff. Now, I know this was on dirt, but she ran in January. She lost to a horse named Blue Haze of Fire. Go back and watch that race and tell me you want her at a short price. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Good.
I mean,
you're the Tampa master.
You can't lose to Blue Haze of Fire in that situation.
Was she just a Tampa bridesmaid, essentially, Blue Haze of Fire?
No, she was a horse that I think had run 3 times, beat home 1, was ridden by Sue Martin, who had first win in 4 or 5 years.
All right, enough said.
Races falling down in front of him, and nobody can make up any ground.
Yeah, fair enough. And you know what? Again, there's been 17 other races, basically, in addition to that one with Ghana Dixie, and that's a major question mark today. Now, as far as pace is concerned, I like that the 5 Irish Star, and I get your filly might get brave on the front end, but I do think Irish Star, even though she isn't much, she's going to run better here. First time on the turf for this trainer. I thought her first turf race against a better field here during the championship meet back on March 11th, and I'm going to take her second off the claim. A tepid pick for me in race number 6.
Well, let's take a look at my late pick 5 now. You'll see that similar to your Rainbow 6, I did not find a single in this race. I'll try to get through this race too deep. I'd like to use 4, 5, 7, especially on the strength of the Blewett endorsement with number 5 Irish Star. I'm 4 deep in the 7th race. I thought there could be some value lurking here. I'll use the 1 Brave Request, the same as you. The 2 Silver Chalice, same as you. 2 different horses I'll use. The 3 Enduring Arch. This horse should have won by now. I actually wouldn't mind being the owner of this horse. He really has some ability and has been questionably handled of late. The number 4, The Luckiest Punch. The connections alone make me want to use this horse first time out of the gate. This race just at 5.5 furlongs, need to have a little speed. You and I on the same 2 horses in race 8, 6-8. We'll move along. In the 9th race, you use the 6 and 7. I'll add 1. I'll use the 5 Mitos y Leyendas, the 6 and the 7. And then in the 10th race, we both like Wakachula, but my top play in the race is the 4 Fearless Princess. I'm 2 deep there. No singles for me. It's a $48 play.
Very tough cash out. I hope you get there, Pete. It is a wildly competitive $10,000 claimer, and Aubrey Mirage, the trainer of a Fearless Princess Runs 2, might be a case of a 1-2 punch as he's got a stretch-out sprinter. But more on that in a few seconds. Race number 7, 5.5 furlongs on the dirt. These are 3 and up, $16,000 maiden claimers in the 7th race today. No replays to get to, but that being said, I thought it interesting and certainly as far as a springboard race to build off of first time out for the number 2 Silver Chalice, who was basically a pocket trip, but was in a little tight, bounced around a little bit, roughed up at the quarter pole. Good enough effort where he brings speed to the party today.
Yeah, and Kathy Roundtree doesn't win first time out hardly ever, especially with horses that were coming off the farm. You see when you look at the workout pattern on this horse, there's no Tampa or Gulfstream Park workouts. The horse has been training on the farm. Kathy does do a good job. Horses will be better as their racing careers progress. So it certainly seems to me that this horse will be as good, if not better, than his last race. And that's all he needs.
Yep, and you've got plenty of girl power there as Kathleen O'Connell sends out the one brave request from the rail off an 8-month layoff. And you got any steam here on the 4, the luckiest punch?
I don't have any steam, but anytime I see Dan Hertak in the owner line, he used to train here in South Florida for so long. His wife, Donna Green Hertak, the conditioner, the luckiest punch. I just can't let those connections go unnoticed. They've won too many races for too long to be off my team.
Very sharp. They were a must-use for me every single summer when they would ship here and there into Saratoga Springs.
My father used to say that Hertak off the claim was better than Lasix.
That's pretty awesome. Your pop still around?
He is indeed.
All right, we got to get him out here one day. Got to see Mr. Aiello. All right, let's move on to race number 8. 5 furlongs, 3 and up, filly mares, $10,000 claimers in the 8th. Does the win total today and the record over a number of these fillies who she's beaten, does that increase in the form of the 6 Biandetti Song? I think she's vulnerable today, but we'll look at her last on April 28th when she beat a few of these.
Well, she's so consistent. I mean, that's the one thing about it. Wildcat Wave is actually in this race. She's on the engine. She's not hard to spot. The reason why I use both of them and not just singled Biandetti Song and gone on with it, I think Wildcat Wave is a better racehorse now than she was 60 days ago, and I think her form really proves that. She's not stopping quite as bad, if at all. This particular race, I think that Biandetti Song just mows her down. I mean, she is still well clear of the 3rd place horse, talking about Wildcat Wave. So I use those top 2. What happens if it's a length and a quarter either way, trouble-wise? They went sub 44 to the half. Got to use them both.
Yeah, they're both uses, but again, I like your point there with Wildcat Wave just being in better form and sharper and a little quicker than she was when Biandetti Song beat her way back when in March. Let's take her as the second choice for me. You'll take Biandetti Song. Let's move on to the 9th. Wanted to fly through the 8 just so we could spend a few minutes here on the 9th. I know you got to get the changes underway in a few minutes, but we'll have our last dirt race on the card, a 6 furlong, 3 and up, optional claiming $8,000 starter allowance. It's a good crew of horses,
Sure
and it's
is.
a crew of horses headlined by a 96 buyer earning J.B. Quick, who ran out of his skin in 109 and 1, drilling a solid field that included Express Jet, who came back a week ago, I think last Sunday, and beat a field comparable to this one. Where do you stand as we look at J.B. Quick? Where do you stand with him?
I think he's going to be a massive underlay in this particular race. He is the track record holder across town at Gulfstream Park West when he posted that 11-length shocker in October. He won last time out, and he did it in very impressive fashion. As you said, Express Jet ran out of his mind last week when he won subsequent to this. Yeah, I am with you, Jay. He's got to do it again. And at 6-5 on the morning line and what is likely an odds-on price against some horses who themselves have resumes, that's enough of a reason for me to try to beat him. Include him, yes. Beat him, I hope so.
Yeah, just want to see it again. Found this stat, kind of a quirky stat, but I think it fits here with trainer Ralph Zadie, who as far as his last out winners, and we're not talking about the lower level claimers, we're talking about horses that are running back off wins who are not in for the tag. You have just 1 for 9 as far as the winning rate for 11%. Half of them have basically hit the board, but they're all short prices, and you're likely in odds-on territory off the big fig. I like our horse, the 6, Harry He, who's been sharp off the claim for Ralph Nix. And I'm thinking if the 4 All About Diva clears off, I don't think he's good enough to beat these horses. I think we get first run with the 6, Harry He.
I hope so, because if we don't, we're going to be in trouble as far as JB Quick goes. If everybody goes crazy in the race, what about a horse who is a 10-time winner in just 25 career starts, number 5, Mitos Eliendas? His last 2 races are so bad, they're not really true testaments of what he can do. His race on the turf is a complete throwout, and his last race, he just didn't look interested. He never took part. He's a better racehorse than that. He does need pace to chase, but there is pace in here.
Indeed, there is. 10-time winner, and you pick up Tyler G at a big price here, and he's taking the call. I can't imagine Tamara Levy gives him the call if she didn't think this horse would turn things around and run better.
Ignore Tammy Levy horses at your own risk. Of course, if you're watching this in Florida, you already know that.
Yeah, no doubt, and that is something I have learned quite quickly. In fact, she's got a legit chance, according to you, to sweep the late double today, have a big chance in race 9 and 10 alone at face value. We like her in the nightcap, race number 10 at 7.5 on the turf, 3 and up filly mares in this 10K claimer. Wakachula, we'll talk about a few here, but I don't think there's any denying that this mare has come back as a 5-year-old, sharp as ever.
Yeah, and me personally, I 100% attribute Wakachula's form reversal to trainer Tammy Levy. She's been patient with this mare. She's put her in good spots and not blown her mind with any particular assignment. I mean, if you look at the form before, Tammy, the horse's form is ugly, which is why when she won, she was 13-1 that particular afternoon. And ever since she won last June, she's been very, very good and very, very consistent. I love the fact that they've taught her to pass horses. She certainly seems to be way more effective doing that with 2 wins and a second out of her last 4 races from off the speed.
Now, another use for you in your late pick 5, the number 4 Fearless Princess, who beat a few of these, including Summertime Music most recently. I like the way she finished up in this race, and in a case, as we look at it back on April 20th, Aubrey Mirage might be able to take this one a little further back today because he also entered the number 9, Zero Out.
Yeah, and Fearless Princess is a horse that I just like her style relative to this level. She's tractable, you can put her anywhere, but you can put her to a drive for 3/8 of a mile, and she's not going to dull her kick. She's a grinded away type horse. Now, I got to tell you, I was a huge fan of her in this particular race. I was at the 8th pole calling the race, but in my head going, okay, are you going to get by this horse or not? Summertime Music ran out of her mind. It was a career best race for Summertime Music, who she'll face again. I think Summertime Music will regress. I think Fearless Princess will stay in good form. She's so consistent. I love that Rios has the return call, because Rios, if you don't know about him, he is 100% in the top 3 of the strongest riders here in South Florida. You do not get out-finished with Jesus Rios.
Oh, that's good to know. That is very good to know. Now, no Viva, and I know we got to get off the air for the changes, but no Viva Bertha for you with the drop. I know she's been off for a long time. Another 8-year-old in the race. She's got to look to me like she is placed here to do some damage.
She may be, but if you want to win off of a 10-month layoff, you'll do so without me pretty much anywhere, anytime.
All right. Fun week, my friend. We had a good time. Yeah. I know you're a little beaten up, broken.
I'm battered and bruised. I've been bettered. But I guess, you know, when you're a $10,000 claimer and you're running against a guy that's done Belmont Stakes races and met miles for 10 or 20 years, you're not supposed to compete. I don't know what I was thinking, but it was fun to try.
I'm loving the digs here at Gulfstream Park. It was great to work with you.
Look what the guys just did. We got Matt coming here.
We put this on your tab. So, no carbs?
I don't care about carbs. Those are yours anyway.
I'll chow down. I'll see you guys before the 1st. And the great Pete Aiello is a good sport. Will be coming up shortly. In fact, pretty much right now with the scratches and changes.
I owe him.
A passion for horses and a commitment to breed champions is the foundation of Hardacre Farm. Founded in 1999 by Amy Tarrant, owner, breeder, and trainer, Hardacre Farm, now based in Ocala, continues its tradition of success. From the Breeders' Cup to Gulfstream Park, Hardacre Farm, from the breeding shed to the racetrack, in pursuit of producing the best.
Discover a unique sanctuary at the Crowne Plaza, Hollywood Beach. A tropical resort offering contemporary comforts, oversized rooms, and a spacious pool. See you at the Crowne Plaza, Hollywood Beach.